So Benji, last week we went to Card Party.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what Card Party is, why we were there, and like what's the background with the whole story there. Why did we go to Card Party?
Yeah. So how does a Pokemon convention have anything to do with creators? Card Party is a Pokemon card opening event and trading convention, I guess you would say. And people from all over the country flew into Seattle to celebrate Pokemon, do Pokemon stuff. It gets pretty nerdy, okay? I'm into Pokemon. My daughter's into Pokemon. But it's who put it on that really matters and the team around him. So Pat Flynn is a new content creator on YouTube when it comes to Pokemon. Arguably the biggest content creator when it comes to the Pokemon world. And he's got 1 hour long videos, 2 hour long videos that have millions of views each. Okay. And a couple things about Pat Flynn. He wasn't always a Pokemon creator. I know him from back in the social media marketing world and the passive income. He's like an OG podcaster. So number one, it's amazing to see him reinvent himself and be so successful at YouTube. And so that's part of it. Also, the guy behind the scenes, Dan, his producer, is somebody that met me years ago at Vid Summit when he was down and out, desperate, and just like crawling to make something happen. And now he's like flying high, responsible really for a lot of the storytelling, right? Pat Flynn gets all the credit for it's his idea. He's the face of it. He's the guy on camera. Dan is really the guy, you know, like his running mate, making it all happen. So we learned from him kind of the secrets to their success.
Yeah.
That a lot of creators can learn from.
Yeah, one of the things that was amazing to me, I didn't really know much about Dan's background. I didn't know a ton about Pat Flynn, honestly. We've talked about him, of course. I've been kind of in your vicinity for a long time. And like you said, you and Pat Flynn have known each other for a very long time because you're kind of OGs in the kind of YouTube expert space, really, honestly. And it was interesting to hear about Pat Flynn's journey in the first place. So Pat Flynn runs two channels actually on YouTube that I know of, which is one is it Shortpocketmonsters? What's the name of it?
DeepPocketMonsters and Shortpocketmonsters.
Okay, DeepPocketMonsters and Shortpocketmonsters. DeepPocketMonsters is their long-form channel, and we're going to get to that. That's going to be the topic of the day so far. The other thing that they run is Shortpocketmonsters, which is, like the name says, short-form content. He's known for, if you've seen any Pokemon content, he's known for the should I leave it open, or should I open it, or should I leave it sealed content. He basically kind of like perfected that format and kind of is the leading person in that space. The second thing on the long form content, they started, I think, in 2020 or 2021. And so they've been going at it for 5 years. They have like millions of subscribers at this point. They're getting hundreds of thousands or millions of views on their videos pretty much every time they upload.
Yeah. 10 million views, he said. I think.
Really?
Was he saying it every day? It was crazy. Something like I went on their live stream because they streamed the whole event, got to talk to Pat Flynn. And yeah, I believe, was it 10 million? It's something crazy.
Across all of their channels?
Yeah.
And so they're running a huge show, and this is like kind of their side hustle, by the way, which is the craziest part of it all. But we got to meet the guy behind their long form content, which of course is kind of right square in what we're interested in. And his name, as you said, is Dan. Now, I'm going to say a couple things, and I kind of want to do a little bit of reflection with you about like what we learned from Dan over the course of a couple of days spent with him. But one of the things that Dan told us, first and foremost, that I think was a revelation for me, because it was someone on the outside that I had never talked with before, confirming everything that we've talked about over the past year or so, which is that about a couple of years ago, when they were just getting started with DeepPocketMonsters, he was afraid to upload a 20-minute video. He's like, 20 minutes, anything longer than 20 minutes is too long. I can't upload anything longer than that. Well, guess what? They uploaded it. It did really well. And then the next bar was 30 minutes. Well, geez, we can't upload a 30-minute video. This is YouTube, for God's sake, right? We can't do this. They upload it. It does really well. They uploaded a video that was Seattle-based. They go everywhere when they upload these videos. Just before we went to Card Party last week. And it was an hour and 40 minutes. It's a whole movie. And it's doing great. Actually, in fact, I'm curious about how they're doing. And I guess long story short, it's first of all, you should go check out their channel if you haven't seen it before, just to get a sense of the kind of things that they're doing. But they are knocking these things out of the park. They're posting these 1.5 to 2 hour long movies once a month and getting getting millions of views every single time they upload. It's really quite an incredible feat on YouTube. They're kind of the MrBeast of the Pokemon space right now, in my opinion. So Benji, I'm curious about what you took away from Dan in particular, because he's really the producer behind the scenes making that channel happen.
Yeah, well, what's happening behind the scenes?
Well, yeah, tell me about what you learned from Dan about how they're making that work. How are they getting 2 hour long videos, getting millions of views every time they upload?
They're really tapping into what is making YouTube successful the same way we are, even if they're niche and even the format is different. And if you've been listening to me or you've been coached by me or taken my course, you know that right now I'm obsessed with vlogging. I'm doing Vlogtober. Part of the reason it works is because vlogging is perfectly situated for this demand for longer videos. Simply put, they're tapping into that. As you said, they were afraid to do 20-minute videos, and now they're doing 2-hour videos, getting 1 million plus views. There's a reason they only do 1 upload a month, because it takes so long to produce a 1, 2, 3 hour epic show about their Pokemon, card opening kind of adventures. That's all the bandwidth they have to do it. And also, why not? It's getting 1 million views per upload.
Exactly.
But they stumbled and kind of found out the same thing I did.
Yes.
That this is one of the reasons why I'm excited about YouTube is when I hear from other creators. I've got a lot of friends in the creator space. I'm always talking to them, and they're finding out the same thing as me, because we all use the same platform. We all read the YouTube analytics, and their success has been my success, and now Judy's success, and so many other creators, which is the television is the -- device people are consuming YouTube on. But creators were never formatting their content for the television. Partly my fault, right? Because I kept saying in my book, YouTube Secrets, and I'm saying, hey, this is everything, right? Make sure you look at make the video for the phone. And now it's this is why I had the TV behind me. Make the video for this, but it doesn't stop there. People are watching this longer content on their computer, on the laptop, on the tablet, and even the phone, because I think ultimately the second part of it, YouTube is a go-to platform for longer videos.
Yeah.
People are definitely consuming shorts on there. But when they want that longer, kind of casual, sit on the couch, whether it's a couch or chores or even commuting type of viewing, in that case, you're listening, hopefully, unless you got FSD on Tesla, then YouTube is a place to go. Not nowhere else, right? It's interesting because even if you think about a Hulu or Netflix or a Paramount, you kind of want to sit and commit to these shows and these movies. But with YouTube, it's everything.
Exactly.
So it's benefiting from that, and the creators that are seeing this and saw this are the ones getting tons of views. And guess what? Everybody else, their views are down, and they're like, "What the heck is happening?" And that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting at the nut of the thing that I wanted to talk about in this segment of the show, which is that the TV is such a big deal. You say it's the #1 place for people to watch the long form content, and you mentioned these other streaming services. I just want to nail that home. When we say #1 place, we mean more than movie theaters. We mean more than Netflix. We mean more than Hulu. YouTube is literally the #1. And so it's really important to remember that if you're looking to, by the way, this goes for big Hollywood studios too, by the way, or big studios that are trying to make TV shows. If you're looking for eyeballs, YouTube is the place to be. And here's the advantage for creators. They also get access to that distribution as well from any level that they're at. Now, here's the twist, bringing it back to Card Party and Dan. Our experience with Dan was that, actually, I'll just talk about my experience with Dan. You introduced me to Dan. You connected with him a few times before. You told me about your background. He told me about his background. And importantly, part of his background was that he worked in live broadcasting on the television for many, many years before he got started on video. In fact, he went to film school. He told us his professors said that he would never make any money doing online video, and so he went in the more traditional career and did 11 years in live sports broadcasting for Major League Baseball and Disney. So crazy, right? 11 years on the television, and he eventually started helping out Pat Flynn. There's a whole crazy story about how he got connected with Pat Flynn for Deep Pocket Monsters, and I was just blown away because the more he talked to us, the more I figured out that he was taking everything he learned from his time in TV and bringing it to YouTube. And guess what? In 5 years, they're blowing it out of the park. Getting, I checked, by the way, that video uploaded 5 days ago, 1 million views already.
Okay. Can I just pause for a second?
Please.
I want to go on the record saying in a private conversation, he doesn't mind, I'm going to reveal this. I think like 2019, I told him his experience in live streaming and broadcasting, as well as being in traditional media, would help him on YouTube.
No way.
Yes. I said, this is going to actually help you on YouTube because you understand how this works. Like the entertainment business, you understand, like properly running a show, run of show. And, I've done live streams. So, amateur hour, just me and Judy doing it off a webcam to like full on, like 25-person team. And what I realized is live streaming at that time, how could I have known I was so correct, was still in its infancy. And now you've got in real life live streamers. But what I'm saying is live streaming is still on the table. And now not only is he utilizing his experience from traditional media, being at Disney and ESPN for his storytelling, which is getting him millions of views, okay? Yes. It's like, he understands this. He actually studies storytellers and different methods of storytelling. Guess what? He's actually streaming his content. That's when I went to Card Party. They invited me on stage. I was there talking with Pat Flynn on a live stream, kind of like game day, football commentary style, but for Pokemon cards. And the point is this: it's a great opportunity right now to do both really long content, live streaming. Hence why we're streaming this.
Totally.
But. So the reason I bring that up is one, I want to make sure there's receipts out there that I told him. He like agree, okay? Because he was like desperate when I told him this. I could have never imagined this would happen.
Yeah.
But also, it shows you that our worlds are converging. So it's both a good thing and a bad thing. Bad thing because lots more competition in the space, because now if everyone's watching on the TV and YouTube's the destination, guess what? Everyone else is going to flock here, which, by the way, guess who else is going to flock here? Advertisers, brands. That's a whole nother topic. But Dan, myself, beginners are all going to be able to tap into this crazy demand for longer, content, whether it's longer videos, like to the tune of 30 minutes, an hour, as well as live streams. And I'm really excited for you if you're a beginner creator. Don't fall into the trap of doing what everyone else is kind of doing right now. Do this thing, which was never a possibility. And in fact, like Dan experienced, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. No one's going to watch a 20-minute video. Now they're doing 2-hour videos.
Yeah, they've sort of, just to be clear, the Deep Pocket Monsters, they're not doing like a ton of live streaming. They do some live streams, but their main thing is just long form content. But he's taking his live experience and folding that in both to long form content and the live streams that they're doing, for example, at their big events like Card Party, right? And so one of the things that I really took away, and I think this was surprising to both you and I, is Dan's role in Pat's operation. I think long ago, right, the assumption, in fact, I think he's speaking at Vid Summit, by the way, and he's going to talk about his role and why they're able to get these types of views and these consistent viewers over and over again on their channel. And one of the things he revealed to us was that he's doing, they are able to do that because he has a very specific role. He's not really the editor. He's kind of the producer, but he's really only focused on one thing in particular.
One thing.
Storytelling. And so we talked, this was like, as soon as he said these things, our minds are blowing, and he just talked about the TV opportunity and going long. I'm like, dude, you're like taking pages out of our book, basically. Like, we are independently sort of coming to these conclusions from totally different sides of the spectrum to some degree, right? Yeah. So it's just confirming everything that you and I are talking about, right? And so one of the things that he tells us is that storytelling is, just like we talk about, our third T, telling stories in the new vlogging method, is how he's making his stories interesting, how he's keeping people watching for an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes, 2 hours, and more importantly, how he gets them coming back actually to the next video. He says that a big part of the storytelling in one video is not to just make viewers satisfied to watch that whole 2-hour video in the first place, but to get them to come back next month, so that way they're interested in watching the video after that. And he posted on his Instagram the other day after I started following him, and I wish I'd screenshotted this because he had a great comment on one of his videos where it's a viewer, totally unrelated from them, basically saying, I keep coming back to your videos because it keeps layering on from the past. Every time you upload a new video, you're incorporating more and more from the previous videos that you had and pulling together these storylines and creating this epic, like almost like Avengers-like story where you're having all these storylines come together in every single video you create.
Vlogging 101. I mean, you don't even have to be so intentional or so produced about it. But by the way, and Nucha, you should get ready to come on here. I want to give a shout out to Saozon. Speaking of Vlogging Academy, I think that was probably the biggest aha moment is he said, I'm obsessed with storytelling, because what do we talk about in Vlogging Academy? Storytelling being the third T, right? The first one being having a theme for your channel. Second one being topic and takeaway for vlogs. Third one is telling stories. There's a reason I'm telling you to tell more stories, because that's what the people want. And even the most successful channels are doing it. So Salzan is part of the Vlogging Academy community. And then we've got a Sizzle Serve Yum. When you vlog, do you need to edit or just keep raw footage? I already answered the question. So add your questions in the chat area, you guys. And then Kay says the camera quality is noise. Now, is that Nucci? Is that you, Nucci?
That's actually not me.
Okay, Nucci, come on screen. He is our producer of the show, so he's paying attention to the comments. So if you have questions, send them his way, right, in the chat of this live stream. And this part of the value of this is that I get to answer your questions. So creator questions, I would love it to be related to what we're talking about, but general question, we're going to be doing that throughout the live stream. But yeah, that was crazy to me, because as a producer, I assumed he was doing way more shooting, editing, all the other things that come along with it. And he said, really, my number one role and the thing I'm obsessed is telling stories, and probably didn't give himself enough credit. Arguably the number one reason why it is successful, their YouTube channel, and why they get 1 million views. By the way, he told me some inside stuff. I'm not going to reveal it, but their AVD is crazy high.
Yeah.
Like really high. Okay.
People are watching their videos for a long time.
For a long time, like to the tune of like, hey, it's like TV style type of viewing habits. And that's huge, because we didn't have that when you're watching on the phone 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So storytelling, it is not something to sleep on. It's something to actually get better at. It doesn't take a lot though. And so if you're curious, vloggingacademy.com, we have the link down below for creators who want to start vlogging.
Absolutely. And make sure you check out Dan's stuff too. He's speaking at Vid Summit, I think, in the next coming days, actually. So if you're able to make it there, if you're going there, make sure you go to his talk. And then also check out the DeepPocketMonsters as well, to kind of get a sense of what they're doing over there.
The kids were watching it this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other story too. But let's go ahead and change gears a little bit here, because the main topic of the day is following up our last discussion about Sora, because things have developed a lot over the last week from when we initially were reacting to it. We literally came into the studio and we're reacting that day to what we're feeling. I think we still feel a lot of those things, but there's been a whole industry reaction as well. And importantly, Benji, you got access to Sora just the other day. In fact, I texted you Monday. I said, Benji, could you ask your buddy for a code? Do you have any access to this? Because you have to get a code to get access to Sora. And then 30 minutes later, you give me this text. I asked him for a code, but you know what's funny? I'm not really trying to put my likeness in that AI app. Now, to provide context for those that don't know, Sora 2 is Sora is OpenAI's TikTok style platform with only AI generated videos, where you can basically deep fake yourself and your friends and put them in, like, at this point, it's very meme-y content about things that are kind of going on. 100% AI generated. And so Benji's referring to in that message that he sent me that he was concerned about literally capturing like his like identity and essence in there and putting it into the AI app. And I want to talk about that actually right here, if you're okay with it.
Yes.
So tell me about why you were kind of concerned about it at the beginning. And we're going to kind of work our way towards talking about the implication for things like brand deals and also the industry reaction as well.
Yeah, and for creators that aren't really familiar, we all know ChatGPT. OpenAI is the company that put that out. Sora is their new video generation, complete AI social media platform. And they're making this super exclusive. And I think really they're trying to give it to creators. And you're going to talk about what their strategy is there.
Sure.
But it's completely AI generated content in a TikTok format. And I had been seeing a lot of videos from my friend, specifically Andrew Edwards. And I was just thinking, wow, this is actually pretty cool because it looks so real. Not new to me. Right, I've been using some of these Chat GPTs and video generation AI tools. It's mind blowing what it does. The difference here is you put your likeness into it, and it really like makes a replica of you.
Yeah, you can be in the video basically.
And so there's two things I want to say about it. Number one, I was hesitant about putting myself in there, which is really contradictory to me vlogging my whole life. Right, I don't know. There's something still eerie about it to me. But I'm more keen on doing it now, and I'll tell you why later. The second part is just like now creators can generate videos of themselves with no work, just from typing a prompt like you do on ChatGPT. So even like Google, for example, Google, this is going to sound first world totally. Google took some work. You put in like a search term or a phrase, and then give you a whole bunch of results, and you click in and you kind of explore different pages. ChatGPT is like no work. You put in your question, just gives you an answer, pure and simple. So content creation, similarly, right? In the beginning, you had to have like a camera, you had to have like a way to edit that footage, and then you uploaded it. And then as time went on, TikTok made it super easy, but you still had to work, right? You record on your phone, you edit on the app, and then you upload it. There's a certain amount of work. Now there's like no work.
Yeah.
So Andrew Edwards has already made probably, I just want to say like 40 videos of himself in just the past week. And then his friends have the ability to take his likeness and make videos of him. So there easily probably 100 videos. And that's all that's on my feed right now when I go to the Sora app. And my big takeaway is, damn, short form creators are going to have a lot of competition. So more than my hesitancy to use it myself and put my likeness in there, I'm like, if I'm watching these videos, by the way, number one video I've seen is one of Michael Jackson, okay, one of my favorite artists of all time, at like an In-N-Out eating a burger and dancing in the lobby. And it looks so real. And Nucha, you're going to love hearing this. I kind of felt a little happy to see Michael Jackson in real life. It felt so real that I'm like, wow, like the fact that he's like live, just like doing his moves in the restaurant. And I'm telling you, if I felt like that, being a fan of his, and this was completely generated by somebody typing something into Sora, that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
And you know, Chamath Palihapitiya, he's a billionaire that has another podcast called All In Podcasts, and he's in the tech space. He obviously knows about he's actually helped found Facebook, or he was like at the very beginning, so he knows this stuff. He says the biggest takeaway for everybody isn't like what it does right now or how cool it is and who's using it. It's literally that it's the worst today that it will ever be.
Yeah.
It's going to be better tomorrow, and it's going to be way better in a month. And a year from now, you're not even. So imagine like the videos being so real that I was enjoying watching it. But once people start using it, I mean, it's the difference between somebody making five TikToks a day and 100 Soras in a day, just from typing out and putting your likeness in there. And just think about that. The competition's about to get heated up.
Yeah, I mean, one of the vectors in which it'll improve actually is just how long it takes. Like, first of all, already way faster than producing like a full piece of content that you're creating on your own, right? But it still takes like 2 or 3 minutes for these things to get generated, right? To create like a 20, 30-second clip, right? That's just going to get faster over time. Like, that's just one really simple thing. Also, the video is going to get better quality. The audio is going to get better quality and things like that. Neutrally, have you seen any of these? Like, I'm curious about what the reaction has been in your kind of world about like what Sora has done to the internet already.
No, absolutely. And just like Benji's, my timeline has been flooded with these videos. And honestly, if I'm not looking for that Sora watermark that keeps floating, I'm like, is
Yeah.
this legit? Is this real?
Yeah.
Because like, bro, it's getting better and better with each input. And as you know, with AI, the more people use it, the better it's just gonna get. So from here, it can only get better. And like everybody else is saying, we're cooked, bro. We're so
Have you
cooked.
enjoyed watching them? Like, is it mostly kind of a novelty for you, or like, is there actual value as you scroll through that you're like entertained by them?
It's like a novelty, but you know, it's
Okay.
like a entertaining novelty. I know for me it's fake, but
Yeah.
you know, it's just a funny video, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the interesting things that I've noticed is that, first of all, like there are lots of jokes that are like, oh, I'm definitely getting scammed when I'm 70. These are like, 18-year-olds that are typing
We
this
should
into
pull
TikTok
up
and
some
things like that.
Sora clips.
Yeah, that'd be great to do. And it's if you haven't seen some of these, it's worth going out to see them one way or the other, even if we can't get them up. And actually, so I'll continue the story. You texted me, oh, I don't want to put my likeness in the AI app. We'll get to that in a second. But 10 minutes after that,
vlogger doesn't want to put his face into an app.
then you see, I get a text message from you 10 minutes after that has a screenshot that says content advisory. You are about to enter a creative world of AI generated content. Some videos may depict people you recognize, but the actions and events shown are not real. It's kind of amazing to me, first of all, that they have that. I've heard
So
people,
smart though. Actually, there's like a good reason to do that other than just like disclaimer. Then you're accepting that it's all fake. So you're not asking a question. And now you're like almost at peace, not
As a
like
viewer.
being confused.
Exactly.
Because what's the number one thing people do when they think something's AI? They go to chat.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. They
Put
like
that AI
think
in the comment
whatever.
section.
That's one thing I like about X and Grok. It'll tell you if it is. Hey, after assessing this video, this is an AI generated. But if the whole platform's 100%, then you're like, okay, yeah. Like if I see even my friend or somebody doing something wild or crazy or saying something completely out of line, it's like you don't have any kind of emotion other than just the emotion of experiencing the creation of the creator, and not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that to iJustine.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've noticed is that in the confines of the Sora feed itself, that people are kind of pretty willing to forgo things. In fact, it's mostly kind of memes. It's kind of very jokey. There's ongoing bits. Maybe there's little mini series that people do, like hitting a recurring bit over and over again. It reminds me of kind of the early days of YouTube, actually, the really short, like sketch comedy stuff that like things like Smosh would do, for example, right? But this is like kind of futile to me because you know where I've seen the most Sora content? I don't have access. Usually you don't have access, do you, to Sora? He says no. I see it on Instagram. And guess what? You're not getting that warning on Instagram.
And Nucci is going to actually pull up what Sora looks like. So if you're listening right now or watching, definitely go to the YouTube link. And everything that you see is completely 100% generated by an app. Okay, like this. I just watched Scarface last night, which is kind of funny. This is Scarface, Al Pacino giving a TED Talk. See the Sora little things? It's kind of telling you. This obviously is fake, right? Yeah, we don't even need the audio, honestly, but there's audio that matches all this. So again, I mean, that's wow. Okay.
So
crazy.
I'm curious before we get to the kind of the heart of the thing, because the rest of the industry has reacted to this. I'm curious about what your original instinct of not wanting to put your likeness into the app was. And then I'm also curious about, it sounds like you've kind of changed your mind a little bit.
Yeah, my thought was, well, I haven't read the disclaimers. So usually I have an attorney that kind of like looks into it. I literally, like that day, I text my attorney and say, hey, what do you think about these AI auto-generated kind of things, right? And then she tells me she launched her podcast. So I thought that was kind of funny. But, giving permission to the app. So you're seeing this notification on iPhones like, this app tracks your activity. Do you want it to keep tracking or not tracking? Like we're learning that these platforms, including all apps, have these other motives and intentions that we didn't sign up for knowingly. So I don't know what they're going to do if I do this face scan. So the way Sora works is when you go into it, you sign up like any other social media platform, but then you can put your likeness into it and you scan your face, right? You turn your face, you go up and down, and then I think you probably pick your body style. I don't know. And then it makes you an avatar. So think Avatar, the movie, it makes a digital version of yourself, not like a blue alien version. I'm just saying like a real version. My friend Andrew Edwards' videos, it looks like him. And then guess what? When you do a prompt saying, hey, make me drive a F1 racing car and zoom up on my face when I'm about to cross the finish line. It will generate that video with you in the race car and it'll zoom up on your face. The way it would have taken a studio like days to create just that one scene. It's doing it in an instant. And then this is kind of like relating to what you said. It doesn't matter if it's on Sora or if it's on Instagram. This is short form content that's at least taking away attention and entertaining people compared to the stuff that creators are making with all their effort that definitely takes way longer than like a prompt.
So is your objection then the sort of broader implications of AI, or you're more concerned personally with the usage
I'm
of
just
your...
more, I just don't want my likeness to be used by anybody,
Yeah.
and because you have the ability to. So I would say it was more of a hesitancy until I found out more information, but it's very likely I'm going to do it.
Really?
I'm
Wow.
definitely going to do it, put my likeness in there, dink around with it. Will I let other creator friends use me? I don't think I will. But the whole point with Sora, this kind of brings us to maybe one of the topics we're going to be covering, is creators can have the ability for anybody to use their likeness and create content around them, which in a way seems scary, but it's also genius, because imagine thousands and thousands of videos being created of you. They're helping you get exposure. So if somebody has a viral video and they're using your likeness, in a way you get credit. And then guess what? I think there's ways to sell that. You can sell your likeness or lease it out, rent it out. It's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes to brand deals, this was a big one that Mark Zuckerberg talked about when he started releasing his AI generated videos of celebrities, where then you can take a celebrity, or in the case of a creator, a brand can make a commercial with your likeness and produce it all for you, and you do zero work. You don't pay attention to it. And think about that. Brand deals, infinite.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So when it comes to brand deals, for those who aren't super familiar with the way that kind of journey works, is that most short-form creators don't really get a lot of money from the ads that play in the feed of, let's say, TikTok, as just an example, right? If you imagine scrolling through TikTok, you see a bunch of creators' videos, like maybe it's just somebody who's recording their front-facing camera, maybe somebody's edited something nice together, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're scrolling through, you watch a couple of those videos that you really like, and then eventually up comes an ad. Well, guess what? The ad is just like all the other content, so you can swipe on right by. Mm-hmm. So first of all, that's a problem with the way that they monetize that in the first place. But even then, TikTok has now, through the years, done several versions of monetizing views on their platforms. Initially, they didn't really monetize at all. Eventually, they did something called the Creator Fund, where there was a fixed up pool of money, where if you got a certain percentage of the views, then you got a certain percentage of the pool of that money. And so the more creators were successful, the less successful each individual view was worth. It was crazy. And then finally, just recently, I think in the last year and a half, they've said, hey, if you get a view, then you'll get a share of the ad dollars. Now, there's a caveat, which is that it has to be a longer view. I think it has to be like a minute long, basically, before you share in that. And basically what they've done is they've recreated what YouTubers have had since, not day one, but since very, very long ago, over a decade plus, which is AdSense, where you get a share of the ad money that runs on the platform. On TikTok, that pool is much, much smaller because it's a worse place to advertise and it's a worse place to split up that money. It's harder to do that. So what do short form creators do? How do these creators end up making money? They end up doing brand deals. What's a brand deal? Well, a creator connects with a brand that they're interested in advertising. The brand connects with them, and they decide together, they sign a contract, and they say, hey, we're going to pay you this much money for this number of posts and in this format, maybe with this talking point or this creative. And the creator comes around and they do those things. They create the content for the brand, and then they get paid for the creation of that content. It's just kind of like traditional advertising to some degree, but it's an actual video on your feed. This is how short form creators make pretty much all of their money, right? It's actually a huge problem in its own right, because there's a whole host of things about just the level of competition that's going on when it comes to creating these brand deals. There's a bunch of issues with it being not we believe the most effective form of advertising. That's just our belief. And
because people swipe through it,
just like any other ad on those platforms, right? In fact, we've heard people say that literally on this show, that they just swipe on right by, right? And the biggest problem of all is just the level of competition that is beginning to become a problem for these short form creators, right? So just in any, like really zooming out, sorry to go nerdy here, but in any market, if there's lots of competition, right, the price of things go down, which is great for somebody who's buying at the end of the day, right? In this case, the amount of competition is all the creators competing for attention from a viewer at the end of the day. So the more content is created, the less each piece of content gets views, and then the less each individual creator is valuable to an individual brand. So this brings us to Sora. So if you imagine kind of like over time, the history of video production all the way back at the beginning of the 1900s, all the way until now, what did it take at the very beginning to create a movie? Benji.
Oh my gosh.
1900.
1900, where you're talking like a whole team of people. Like there had to be a set that was built. They weren't just filming on the street.
Yes.
So you had engineers and craftsmen and carpenters just to build the set alone, which was a whole production in itself. Then you had actors and actresses and supporting cast. Then the camera was huge, and you had probably like a multi-team person running that camera. Then you had like crazy big lights.
Yes.
I'm thinking about a movie about Charlie Chaplin, right? And it was just,
yes,
it was huge. And so lots of money.
It
was a whole industry. There's a reason it was all started in Hollywood, because literally that's where they stored all the gear, okay? And the people that worked in the industry lived there, period.
Yeah, and you're not even talking about literally building the actual cameras. They had to build the cameras like in ways that were hugely expensive.
Yeah. Like every time they had to put them together, right?
Thomas Edison, right, was the guy who kind of patented, I think, the film or something like that. And so like they literally had to invent new technologies to make this happen beforehand. That's all to say, it was very concentrated industry with very few people. And if you had access to these cameras, you could inherently make a little bit of money just because you had access to the camera, right? Okay, fast forward, you get through the Hollywood era that you're talking about, Charlie Chaplin, you go up John Wayne, all the way through the end of the 90s, Bonnie and Clyde, everything like that. And by this point, Hollywood's a big industry, TV is around, TV's making tons of money as well. And what comes on the scene? The internet. The internet makes it so that everybody has access to one of the problems that people were running into, which was that by now, a lot of people had like home camcorders. Maybe they were making home videos on little DV tapes or something like that they could then plug in, if they had a computer, into their computer and like show their families or something like that. But let's say you wanted to get that video to your entire family. How would you do that? Well, you'd put it on another DV tape and you'd walk it on over to their house or mail it to them. There's no way to get that video distributed to multiple people. That's what the internet revolutionized at that time. It said if you have a piece of content, at the beginning it was mostly text and maybe some photos, you can get it to someone else instantly and basically for free. It was essentially for free. Well, then what continues to happen? Video cameras get cheaper. It gets internet connections get better. Computers get better. And so what comes on the scene at this point? Finally, there's enough technology in the world. There's enough access to these networks. There's enough access to these tools, and you get YouTube. And so YouTube was revolutionary because it basically was just there to host videos online. And guess what? I create that same DV tape that I would have had to give my family. I just email them a link to the video that I've hosted on YouTube. Or if I'm a blogger, instead of hosting a gigantic video file on my site, I upload it to YouTube and post a embed or a link on my blog so my blog readers can see my face on YouTube. Suddenly, you've born an entire new industry. And so This then continues, and YouTube begins to grow up the AdSense thing that we talked about, where you can make a little bit of money just for posting on YouTube. The creator industry, I mean, you were part of this at the very beginning, starts to form around it, where you can start making brand deals. And suddenly, just like before, more people have access to making money by creating content. That was the whole premise of YouTube Secrets and Video Influencers when you and Sean were doing that at the time. Then what comes on the scene in the middle of the 2010s? TikTok and short form video. And this takes it to the next level, which is like, you always describe it like there's like an atomic bomb dropped on YouTube, or there's like an invasion of the YouTube space or something like that. And essentially there's this huge disruption, this earthquake in the foundations of what it means to be an online video creator. Because guess what? There's this whole other platform where it's easier to create content than ever before. It's easier to get distribution than ever before, and more people are watching than ever before. And so suddenly you have more competition than there ever was before, except for the fact that TikTok was growing at the time. Now, at this point in 2025, everything is solidly set. The history of Hollywood, the history of YouTube, and the beginnings of TikTok as well all have brought us to this moment where TikTok they're still growing, but relatively, they're pretty stagnant, right? YouTube is solid, and they're really growing on the TV. The television is kind of going down, and Hollywood is kind of like shaky, and we don't know if it'll survive. That's a whole other conversation for another point. The point is that there have been more and more people creating, and it's created more and more competition than ever before, which has driven down the value of creators, especially on short form. Now, Sora enters the scene. So if before the gear itself was the thing that was the limiting factor, that was no longer the case when camcorders came on the scene. Then the distribution, putting that on the DV tape was the limiting factor. That was no longer the case with YouTube. Then discovery was the limiting factor. That was no longer the case with the algorithm. And then finally, the actual creation process itself was the limiting factor. That was no longer the case with TikTok. Well, that has now been brought to the next level altogether. With Sora, if you are posting, it's so easy to create a piece of content that the level of competition in short form content is going to go up literally exponentially over the next several years. And that means the competition is going to go up exponentially over the next several years. And so what does that mean for creators at the end of the day? Well, my perspective, and I think your perspective too, is that the value of brand deals has to go down because of that. Now, there's a whole host of other things that are going to happen because of that, but I'm curious about your take and your response to my perspective there.
Wow, you actually did my history lesson I was going to do.
Oh, really?
A way grander, longer version
Sorry,
of it.
yeah.
It's okay.
I get carried away.
I want to actually paint a picture that gives you a little bit of a different perspective of the same problem, okay? So fast forward this history lesson to the days of TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. You're really only limited to the amount of time it took to record a video,
yes,
to get a video up, and the caption that you have to type, okay? Some of the number one pieces of content that's showing up on my feed right now on Instagram Reels, that's where I do most of my short form content, is just talking head videos of a guy named John Cortese. He does Seattle content, and he does 5 to 8 a day, and he'll update you on, current events. He'll like cover the news, or he'll talk about like his favorite spot in Seattle to grab like a taco, okay? And some of them it's just one take, and he records it, he puts a caption on it, boom. But still, a 60-second Instagram Reels takes 60 seconds plus the amount of time to type, right? With Sora, with this AI video generation app, you can make how long of the video can you make? What's the amount of time?
I still haven't figured that out. I think it's under 2 minutes though.
Okay, let's just say 60 seconds, same compared to John Cortese, except it's just the prompt. So you're only limited by the amount of time it takes for you to type into Sora. Think about this, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's number one. So John Cortese now can make a 60-second video just from typing. How long does it take him to type a prompt? It could be 10 seconds. I mean, I use the voice-generated prompts, for ChatGPT. But that's John Cortese, a creator. What about the aspiring creator that's just coming on the scene that has no video skills? They're like, hey, I don't even have to learn how to, use a camera, use my phone, or edit. I just talk to the prompt, right? I just type in the prompt.
They never even pick up a camera.
But then it doesn't stop there. What about all the other people that have been too afraid to be on camera, that didn't want to be a creator, or they're just like, it was just too much work to create content? Now, again, they can type. Then let's talk about the other side of this. Brands, businesses, just like any entrepreneur that, again, it was harder for them to get into the scene because that wasn't what they were good at or they wanted to even be good at. That's hence why they hire creators, okay? Now they can do it, but it gets even better. What if they rent your likeness? So itsJudyslife right now is kind of the big creator. She's a female tech creator in YouTube and social media, going all in. I think they partnered up with her. I don't know for sure, but I'm seeing a lot of her content. Now Samsung, if they want to work with itsJudyslife and she has the ability to lease out her likeness, can just do it. And then the creators at the agency, these people that had these ideas for these campaigns, now can create the content without the creator. Now, in this case, itsJudyslife might make some money. Or guess what? What if Samsung doesn't even want to work with a creator? They're going to create their own person. I've been saying this, like a good example is Trader Joe's. I've always thought Trader Joe's should have an actual Joe. They can have a Joe now. They can create their own avatar and make him do whatever the heck they want him to do. Now, will they be able to create the store's environment perfectly? No, but I'm telling you, in a year, they will be, because I think where it gets like this is a little bit of a theory, they can put their avatar in an actual store eventually, okay? But still, the point is this: now brands and everyone can create their own avatar, whether of themselves or this made up one.
Or, as you say, partnering with a creator to do essentially a brand deal.
Take all those different characters, all those different people, and all those different opportunities to create content. All that's competing against every short form creator right now. Every piece of Reels, TikToks, or YouTube Shorts that people are organically putting up. So short form right now, I mean, what's his name? Casey Neistat said it, is cooked. I actually believe that. Just like when shorts came into YouTube, it was like doubling the competition, because now when someone goes to YouTube, they decide, do I want a shorts or do I just want a proper longer YouTube video, right? Guess what? Now people aren't even choosing. The algorithms is going to put it in front of you. So if you got a Michael Jackson video in a fast food store and he's dancing and it's entertaining enough, the algorithm doesn't care. It's just going to put it right in front of you. And it has put it in front of me. You know how many people share Sora content with me? A ton of people. This is at the beginning. It's going to get to a point where people don't care if it's AI or real life. They're going to just share whatever is most engaging, entertaining, and that fits like whatever they're interested in at the moment. And that's just the beginning.
I think the bottom line of what we're both saying is that the level of competition is gonna increase on all levels for short form, right? I mean, it already has for short form. That was kind of the whole point of the history lesson there. But for me, I'm like, oh, well, just the content creation itself is. But you bring it a step further, actually, which is what you're saying is like, these brands may not even need creators anymore because they'll just create their own content. Why wouldn't they?
Can I talk about this?
Yeah, tell me.
I've done a lot of brand deals. A ton.
Yeah.
And I pride myself on doing really creative things, using my imagination, integrating the product, the company, the business, the brand in a way where it isn't skippable. It's part of the creative. It's part of the content in a way that's not like a ad spot.
Yeah.
That's what makes me valuable. That's what makes Judy get paid the highest rates, because we know how to do that. And even if the campaign manager or the person at the ad agency that's working on behalf of the brand has a good idea, they need us to execute it because we have the audience. But think about this person that's been working at an ad agency and they've done a lot of campaigns, have a lot of experience, and they have really good ideas.
Yeah.
Now they can test those ideas. But not just one time with a creator and with this budget. They can test it as many times as they can prompt. This is what I'm saying. This is the problem here when it comes to brand deals, period. Not just for short form, by the way, even for long form eventually. This campaign person can just be like, you know what? Well, let's take Trader Joe's, for example. I want my Joe guy, right? Like, so Trader Joe's, say they have a Joe guy. I want Joe to just like run through a field of bread and just like at lightning speed, frolicking in a sea of bread. Instead of being wheat, it's like a sea of like bread, right? Growing out of the ground, right?
For sure.
And I want Joe to end his sprint by grabbing a loaf of bread and saying, "Hey, we now have sourdough at Trader Joe's." I mean, I just came up with that right on the spot. And there's campaign people that are geniuses creatively that are coming up with ideas for the brand, and then they pitch it to influencers. Now they can do it on their own with their own character. And that's just one. And that took me, not even 15 seconds. So in a workday, how many ideas could you just test?
Yeah.
Or better, you just put it out there and just see what it does.
Yeah.
Now it's like you don't need the creator. This now is starting to sound kind of doom and gloom. Don't need the creator. You can test infinitely. It's like low risks, because if you put out a whole bunch of things, algorithm's only going to put out the winners. It's a complete volume game. And guess what? That person at the agency that's doing this, they're going to be even better the next day and the next day. And they're going to be good at the prompt. And guess what? Sora's going to get better too. So at one point, we won't know who's a creator, who's a campaign, agency rep, or even somebody at the brand, or just like a random user. Like, think about this. Think about kids. I believe this is the next addiction for kids. Gaming was the addiction for 20, 30 years, 40 years. I'm telling you this, for a certain group of kids that wanted to be YouTubers 10 years ago, now are like, I want to be like a AI content generator person, and I know exactly what prompts. That's a Gary Vee style like statement. I'm telling you, record that, post that, and in 10 years you're going to see kids are going to be known for that. They're going to create an avatar, whether it looks like them or their own doing. They will become celebrities if they want to. They don't even have to. Their avatar can become a celebrity, and then you start getting into like what is that? That world, like Half-Life. It's like a virtual world, because once we get into the virtual world, your avatar that's in these videos now can live in an actual world that we can go into eventually, kind of like Tron. Like Tron is happening now. Tron, the digital world that you can go and live in, this is the beginning of it. And there's going to be kids, creators, and agency creatives that are going to take advantage of this and just rock it. And that's why, actually, going back to myself, I am going to test it and use it, create an avatar of myself, create other avatars, but I'm also going to continue vlogging even more now, because this is the only way to survive in this new environment where there's going to be this creation. By the way, I want to give some shout outs. Manel just commented. Kay commented again. You guys, if you're listening, throw your comments here. I'm paying attention to the chat. Somebody said, how do you get over the weird looks when vlogging in public? Guess what? Just yesterday, I was vlogging, or I was taking a picture in public. 2 old people on the side trail looked at me weird. It still happens. You just get comfortable with those looks, okay? Sometimes I say hi. Sometimes I'll ask a question. Don't worry so much about it. More practice you do, the more comfortable you get. Manel says, how much of vlogging is simply showing up and building an audience that loves versus creating vlogs with some intention? Example. I think it's a little bit of both. But it depends on your vibe. If you're someone that's naturally entertaining and comedic and can make people laugh and have no intention, you just be it, great. You should vlog, and that's your value proposition. Some people, they're not like at that advanced or that comfortable on camera or that entertaining. So you might have to be intentional to think about what your value proposition is. It's not one or the other. It's actually a little bit of both. And more importantly, what aligns with your skill set and what you want to create. But
if you want to learn more about that, actually, Vlogging Academy is a great place to go. We talk about this as a part of the 3 T's of the new vlogging method, where Benji breaks down exactly what level it is that you're playing into the algorithm's hand, basically, and what level it is that you're sort of including your personality into videos. We literally include that as 2 of the 3 T's of the new vlogging method. Have a theme for your channel, a topic and takeaway for every video, and tell more stories and tell the right stories. We talk about all of that in Vlogging Academy. And if you want to take part in that, we just got finished with our Vlogtober challenge for a group of about a couple dozen students who were getting started with Vlogging Academy. But it's still available for you at vloggingacademy.com. You can check it out there. By the way, this podcast is supported by students of Vlogging Academy. It's not possible without them. Breaking away from the doom and gloom a little bit, first of all, a little bit of real-time follow-up. From the OpenAI docs, with the Sora video editor, you can generate videos up to 20 seconds long. So this is the core limitation of AI video, and this is why I told that whole long history lesson to land us right at Shortform. Because guess what? If it can only make 20-second videos, well, it's only competing in the Shortform space. There's a reason they did a vertical feed instead of a TV app for Sora, right? Because A, there's lots of engagement there. It's a very social format. But B, you're not going to watch a 20-second video on your TV. You're just not going to do it. It'd be too much work to use like a TV remote to navigate that interface. And that's a big thing that we talk about as part of Vlogging Academy. And it's also a big reason that you're talking about wanting to do more vlogging and going along. So that brings us to the industry reaction as a whole. You mentioned Casey, and actually just after we posted just after we recorded our last live, Casey posted his actual full video reaction on his YouTube channel. And I don't know if you want to take us through your experience of watching that for the first time.
Yeah. So the last time we did a live stream, we referenced his tweet, which he said, cooked, right? Yeah. And basically saying Sora's so good. This is something to be concerned of. And then he uploads his YouTube video, and basically he shows us what's possible. So his wife, of all people, this is another like big deal. His wife, if you didn't know anything, it's like she kind of hesitant to be on camera. Okay to be on camera, but not a creator.
Yeah.
She's using Sora, and she's using his likeness and her likeness to create these crazy videos. I think he is too. Those videos are kind of entertaining. Again, this is the worst it'll ever be. It'll just get better and better as the technology gets better, as the creators who are prompting get better. By the way, this makes you a creator right away.
Yes,
okay?
Exactly.
But what was his kind of reaction? He actually was genuinely concerned for all creators, because he calls it slop, AI slop, but still there's so much, because every person I use this stuff I can make, and I don't know, I've actually done this. In 30 minutes, I've actually maxed out the amount I can make on some of these things, okay? Like I've hit my limit, and that was probably 50 AI generated videos or something like that in a 20, 30 minute time period. So imagine I'm just one person, multiply that by however many. And this is the thing, the thousands of videos between me and like a handful of people might not like actually be that good. But how many of those videos out of 1,000 will be good? Yeah. And that's his point. You're going to just start seeing not just competition for the type of content he wants to create and other creators create, especially short form creators, but it'll get so good that instead of watching the short form you normally would from your favorite creator or just what the algorithm feeds you, you might actually want this AI generated stuff, because it goes from AI slop to AI cinema. Like well, it could actually be legit good. And I actually think, I didn't tell you this, it will probably pull away people from long form content as well if it's good enough. And as that video gets longer, you said 2 minutes. Sora can make a 2-minute video?
Well, it says 20 seconds in the doc. That's what I was reading from
you. Not 2 minutes.
Yeah, 20 seconds.
20 seconds. Yeah. So that's slowly going to go up. You know, when YouTube first started, I think it was like 5 or 6 minutes. You should look that up initially. What was the length of a YouTube upload in 2005? Like, what was the limit? Went to 15 minutes, then it went to like an hour, and then like I remember when it went unlimited, everyone's like, who cares? Like unlimited, why would we even upload that? It was like a gimmick to do like
10 hours of
24-hour videos. But now guess what? That's actually your only strength and leverage against AI. So what's up, Nuclear? What was that?
The time limit was 10 minutes.
10 minute
video.
Yeah, 10 minutes was the limit back in the day. Okay, so going back to Casey, my reaction to Casey's reaction was this is a guy that probably understands content creation better than almost anybody on the planet. He's kind of like the oracle, not just for vlogging, but just like the idea of creating something and storytelling. If he's concerned, it's something to be paying attention to. I thought, shoot, I should get on there. So I'm glad that you pushed me to get the code.
Yeah, the big takeaway from me in that video is when he went to his other studio mates in his building, and he goes to them and he's like, so what do you think of Sora? And they're like, oh, I'm spending way too much time on it. I'm spending hours and hours on it. And like, this is really, really good. These are all people who are in the video creation, content creation space. It's not just Casey. Obviously, we've talked about a bunch of people as well. Earlier on, actually, one of the things you talked about the limit being the access to video production gear. Have you ever heard of the 99-1 principle? 99-1 principle.
I'm guessing it has something to do with like there's 100 pieces of content, 99 no one cares about, 1 is like the one that people watch.
Yeah, sorry, I'm having a hard time distinguishing when I say this. It's 3 numbers: 90,
okay,
9,
oh,
1.
Oh no, I haven't heard this.
So 99-1 is that there's 90% of people who just view content on the platform. They're just passively there. There's 9, I think, that like basically interact or kind of like a part of the actual community, and there's like 1% that actually create. Right. So this is a classic rule of these user-generated content platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Most people don't create, is the point. Here's the thing that's really interesting about this, and you've actually brought it up twice throughout this entire podcast, which is that this might be the first time that sort of rule starts to break, because it's so easy and so compelling to make a piece of content.
It has nothing to do with your on-camera presence or your ability to record or lighting
or edit
or editing. It's just the prompt, which there's people out there that probably were amazing writers now can write into reality
anything.
A video. Yeah.
Literally anything. I have to give credit to Ben Thompson again as Stratechery for turning me onto this idea. And he actually went through his own little journey over the last week where he talked about his evolution of understanding just how compelling that was with Sora. Because he looked at Meta's version of the app, which doesn't really have these kind of same robust creation tools. And he looked at Sora's version of the app. And initially his first reaction was, Meta's is going to be better. It's more relaxing. It's kind of like a little more like virtual reality, kind of stargazy, interesting thing. Other people have joked and said it's just a bunch of screensavers on that app. And he looked at Sora and he was like, yeah, it's kind of gimmicky and like sort of dorky, but like, I don't know. I'm not really that interested. And then, of course, he saw the reaction, which is that Sora just skyrocketed to the top of the free app charts on iOS, right? And Meta's app is like way in the like 200s, 300s. And he's like, okay, I was wrong about something. And he's like, I wonder whether this 99-1 principle is about to, first of all, explode, which is what we talked about earlier in the show with the amount of competition that's about to happen. But also that it makes it a really, really compelling thing for more people to do because so many people want to express their creativity in that regard. And so it's just kind of amazing to me. I think that brings us to the last of kind of the industry reactions, which is that no one other than MrBeast, who tweeted. Did you see this tweet the other day?
No, I haven't.
He says, when AI videos are just as good as normal videos, I wonder what that will do to YouTube and how it will impact the millions of creators currently making content for a living. Scary times. So you've got Casey concerned, MrBeast concerned. You're over here. You're trying to decide if you want to put your likeness into sell your soul into the middle of the Sora app.
Now that you put it that way, yeah.
No, it is quite shocking. And I guess, to me, the reason I bring this up, I said we're going to get out of the doom and gloom, is that the magic number right now, you're right, like the 20 seconds is going to get bigger over time. But like, there's a lot of indications by industry experts that say that, like, the number one thing that's going to be hardest to lengthen is actually to improve is the length of the video itself. And so right now there's a big opportunity to escape the rat race, basically, of creating short form content, especially as this flood of, as Casey puts it, AI slop is getting poured basically into the troughs of the top of these algorithms, right? And so where do you go when you're out running the slop? Well, you go to long form because you can't create anything that's longer than 20 seconds. Short form is the format that these things are built for. And so that's not even taking into account the other things that we talked about, the entire history of video production, increasing the competition of just other people in the short form space, let alone AI. And then we still haven't even gotten to talk truly about the opportunity on YouTube and the growth of TV viewing and long form viewing content or habits in that space as well. So you're escaping one hyper competitive space that's going to get even more hyper competitive over the next 5 years. And you're moving into a space where, guess what? It'll also get more competitive because people are going to slowly notice this over time. But it right now has so much growth that it becomes an opportunity for you to make a name for yourself, being early to the kind of TV era of YouTube. So I'm curious about your thoughts before we kind of close things out here.
Well, it is interesting to hear Casey saying we're cooked. MrBeast is a little bit concerned. I'm not worried at all. I actually think this plays into my whole theory of why long form content creators are succeeding. And I said this from the very beginning. The one thing that AI cannot do is go long.
Yes.
Okay. A human, it's weird, sounds weird. Any creator, right? Literally anybody can turn on that camera and record a 20-minute video. And if you're just comfortable and you're talking about the thing that you're obsessed with, and it's very topical and it's related to the interest of a viewer, right? Which you can multiply that by like however big that audience or that community could be, you're off to the races and AI will never touch you. And also, like I said, when you watch content on the TV, you don't want to pick. So if 20 seconds is a max, even if it got to 60 seconds, you don't want to keep picking it. So when you watch on the TV, like that's not going to be part of it. TikTok came out with a TV app. It's not going to work. People don't want to keep like choosing, right? They like to choose what. Let's be real. How long does it take to choose a Netflix movie in the first place? Anyway, it takes forever, right?
20, 30 minutes.
20, 30 minutes.
Sometimes
okay?
I give up.
So once you do, you're not like trying to like, pick more of other videos. So like the longer videos are working. I mean, ask yourself this, what's your behavior when you go to watch content on YouTube, on the TV, even on like a phone? Sometimes we're looking at the length of the video to determine, do we want to watch it? Even if there's something that is topical or hitting on the interest you're curious about, we'll still watch the longer video of another interest or another topic, just because, again, we don't want to pick another thing. So that's why I'm not worried. In fact, it's actually perfect timing for what I'm doing, which is vlogging. You know, I'm doing Vlogtober. A lot of other people are doing Vlogtober, and I'm obsessed with longer videos to the tune where like my friend who has one of the biggest, actually the biggest Pokemon channel in the country, maybe in the world, is going super long. And that's what we have against, and that's what I'd say. So I think Sora is amazing. You should totally use it, play with it, pay attention to it. But as a creator, I've been saying this for regardless of Sora, this is actually more of a reason to do this. Make longer videos. Show up to your audience more often. And of course, like a Pokemon channel like DeepPocketMonsters, Dan and Pat, you can make it more produced, but you don't have to. I have recorded videos in the last couple of weeks where I did no edits. It took me an hour to film, and boom, I've got, I think it's like up to 15,000 views, 18,000 views, and AI can't touch that. Like I said, what made it so that the limitation of a TikTok creator is the amount of time you're filming to be able to create a piece of content, right? It's that same thing that makes it so that it's a strength of yours on long form content. The longer your video, the less the AI is going to be your competition.
Yeah, if you're looking to go long, if you're looking for a strategy to go long during this opportunity, again, this is my chance to shout out Vlogging Academy. Our students there are ones that are making the jump early on the bandwagon. One of the things that Judy has talked about in the past is that getting in at the right time is the one factor that's the hardest to recreate when it comes to success on YouTube. You could be successful at any point, but there are times that it's easier and there's times that it's harder. We truly believe that right now is one of the times that it's easier to be successful on YouTube. And we've just created a framework where it plays into the hands of this moment right now, that's stripped down to make it accessible for anybody, we believe, who wants to get started on YouTube. So if you're curious and if you want to support this podcast, it is supported by students of Vlogging Academy, and you can go to vloggingacademy.com to learn more, which brings us to,
Shout out to Julius. Haven't connected with you in a while. He's in the chat. Says vlogging will always get looks by the public, and a lot of time these people are just curious. That's 100% true. It's okay. Keep trying and practice in public. And really, all you're doing is getting comfortable on camera and getting comfortable with people looking at you. That is a key. But yes, I totally agree. And if you're watching us, leave us a comment, leave us a question. I would love to know where you're watching from, what type of content you create, and are you a short form creator or a long form creator? Let me know in the chat below.
Which brings us to the last topic of the day, which is kind of our state of the union, so to speak, with our channels that are going on. And right now I wanted to highlight what you and Judy have been doing. I think when we talked about it a while ago, I think this was before October, as we were doing our Vlogtober challenge, you called it, I think, like a landmark month or a milestone month for you, because my understanding is that you and Judy have committed to the best of your ability, hitting Vlogtober traditional, like old-fashioned style, which is a big deal because that is how you and Judy got started on your daily vlogging journey all the way back in 2011. Is that right? So I want to hear about how that's been going. I want to hear about like what that brings up for you, like emotionally, like what's the state of like what you're doing, what Judy's doing, everything like that. And then I'll tell you a little bit about my Vlogtober journey so far.
Awesome. Yeah. Well. So when you say old fashioned vlog style, but with a new strategy for creating the content.
Sorry, when I say old fashioned Vlogtober style, I mean, your guys are trying to hit every day.
Every single day.
It's crazy to see.
And on 2 channels, which I wasn't expecting. And I vlog on both of those channels, so I'm like double work right now. And Vlogtober, if you don't know, every single day in October you upload a vlog. It was something that started in 2011. That's how we started our family vlog channel. It wasn't a family vlog channel. It's just like behind the scenes, like extended content for Judy, and I was just her token, I think, boyfriend at one point, and then fiance, and then of course husband, and then we eventually had kids. Okay, so we're doing it because I wanted my students to have something to kind of aspire to or help motivate them. And then I was like, you know what? I should do it too. Guess who else got inspired? Judy, my wife, who's edited, I think, like 4,800 vlogs now herself. And she hasn't done daily in 7 years, I think, which is crazy to think like she's doing it again. And she's actually doing it. And she edits a lot more old style vlogging where she's vlogging all day and it takes her a certain amount of thing. For me, though, it's actually way easier because I have a new method called the new vlog method, and I really relax it. But more importantly, I only record around the topic I'm covering. So, yesterday I went to Costco and it was just me and my girl going to Costco, which by the way hit 1 out of 10. So that's insider YouTube talk. That was awesome. And then another day, in fact, no, I'll tell you the one I'm making today or finishing today is gyudon. It's a Japanese beef bowl dish. I'm only vlogging me buying those ingredients, cooking those ingredients, and then eating the final gyudon. So that's really the new method that I teach at vloggingacademy.com. So it makes it way easier for me to go daily. Also, guess what? Because I mean, let's be fair. I'm doing 2 vlogs a day, actually, because I vlog for It's Judy's Life, our family channel, and my food vlog channel. So sometimes I've hit live streams, okay? And also I have done no edit vlogs too, because I know it works. There's people that get 1 million views with no edits. I mean, can you imagine Dan seeing this other vlogger doing like a 45-minute video that with no team, by themselves, no edits, and getting 1 million views?
It's amazing.
So I'm testing that out as well. Like I'm just having fun with it because I am having some vlogs that aren't getting that many views. Like my live stream just hit like 5,000, 6,000 views when I'm usually trying to get 20, 30, 50,000. And then some of my bangers go 100,000 plus. But I'm at peace with that because what I know is, guess what? All our AdSense is up like across the board between the 2 channels. It's like crazy, the jump that's been created. Also, we're doing both longer videos, so more ads are playing. I'm not doing this for the money, but the monetary difference is like a huge bonus for us.
Totally.
And so that's kind of why I'm excited, and to kind of see it on both fronts, and then also to model it for my students is kind of what's driving me right now. And I know it's inspiring other creators because I see other people doing Vlogtober I never thought would be doing it or doing it again, like Judy.
Yeah, you're inspiring me. Obviously, for me, my pace is a little different than yours. I haven't uploaded yet, but I am finally getting back on my channel as well. I will upload something soon. And one of the interesting things that I want to talk about with your channel is that one of the things that we learned, and I think we talked about this last week, is that you narrowing your focus into one topic and takeaway for your channel allows you to record more easily.
Well,
but
for
it's
my
actually,
vlog, not channel, for the vlog. Yeah.
For your vlog. But it also allows you to create longer videos where you can really relax things because the value is in understanding that topic and takeaway. That's one of the things we talk about in the course, right? Now, amazingly, on your channel, the thing that we've learned is that your top performing vlogs since you've began this new vlogging method have all been more than 30 minutes. And this brings it full circle back to what we talked about with Dan at the very beginning, which is that we are in a new era of YouTube. People are watching YouTube videos as if it was TV, which explains why those videos that are sort of TV length pieces of content, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe an hour in some cases. In the case of Deep Pocket Monsters, 2 hours, they're like movie length in those cases, are getting successful because the behavior that is creating those views is totally different than it was when people were watching on their phones way back in the day. And so one of the things that I know we get very often is how long you think that people should make their vlogs. My initial reaction is make it as long as you can, that feels comfortable for you, that you feel like you can provide value for. You don't artificially stretch it, but the longer you can make it, the better. There's a reason why Pat Flynn and Dan are having success over there at Deep Pocket Monsters. And it's because one of the reasons why he literally told us this is they're going longer. They broke past those 20 and 30 minute marks. But I'm curious about what your thoughts are about that before we close out here.
Yeah, it's funny that we're talking about this. Julius asked, what's up? What is the average vlog video length that you'd recommend for people to start out with to upload? So I'll give a kind of a slightly different answer.
Sure.
You want to make the vlog length, the length it should be to accomplish delivering on the topic and takeaway, and also that you can realistically create, because maybe you don't have enough content or ideas or stories to tell a 35-minute story on one single topic for your vlog. So it'll be different for all people. For me right now, my sweet spot is 35 minutes. Now, it's hard for me to kind of gaze at because I might have 50 minutes of content after it's edited. It might go down to sometimes like 25, depending on how I'm vlogging.
Editing, yeah.
So right now, my goal is to get a 30-minute vlog, if not longer. But ultimately, more important than that is deliver on the thing the person wants. The reason we have the 3 T's, right? A theme for your channel, a topic and takeaway for your individual vlog, and telling stories that are related to the topic, and also that falls underneath your theme umbrella, is because before you were vlogging everything for everybody. Now you're vlogging for a certain person around a certain interest, and that is kind of the big difference. So it all just depends on your competence, confidence, and comfort levels to just yap away.
Yeah.
Sam Solik, probably the most famous kind of vlogger, not even thinking he's a vlogger. He's just like talking about working out. Can do a 45-minute workout in the gym and just straight up talk while he's working out, which is awesome. And then it's valuable for people because he knows a lot about the weight machines and the exercises and, protein diets and all that kind of stuff. Versus if, say, like you're just starting out and you're not even really comfortable, and also you're not competent at the thing that you are talking about, it might be a shorter video. So it's all over the place, but guess what I'm saying? Go longer. Right? I mean, how do we start this whole conversation about Sora, Shortform, TikTok Reels, YouTube Shorts? To separate yourself from that demand in that world, going longer. And for me, I actually do have a number now. It is above 20 minutes. So if there is a number that I'm like, yeah, this is the amount. I used to say more than 10 minutes. Okay. Now, if you can only make a 12-minute vlog, make a 12-minute vlog. But what I'm finding is anything above 20 minutes hits that sweet spot. And that's not just like arbitrary. Think about it. How long is the show on TV?
20 to 30 minutes often.
Yeah, 30 minutes, right? But we know with commercials, it's probably just 20 minutes long. There's a reason that's it. And it's just like ingrained into our psyches. And so 20 minutes is about. So So what I'm trying to say is I kind of came up with that 30-minute mark based off of how we schedule our day.
Totally.
We do it by a half-hour segment. So 30 minutes is like an ideal time. 20 minutes is a minimum. The longer you can go, as long as you're delivering on the topic and takeaway of that vlog, you can go for however long you want. In fact, I've had videos, longer videos that hit 100,000 views that were like 45 minutes long. And that's me, who to be fair, I'm not a one-man band. I do have editors, right, that I work with for different projects, but it's not a huge production. And even my storytelling is still amateur hour. I'm just literally speaking my opinions and why they're my opinions and sharing my thoughts and making them into kind of stories. But I'm not doing storytelling like a produced channel like the Deep Pocket Monster. So yeah, to answer your question, I think that you should shoot for 20 to 30 minutes. The longer, the better. Anything below 10 minutes, it's going to compete with shorts. So for me, it's like, yeah, try to push for that 20-minute vlog, but make sure you're delivering on the topic and takeaway that vlog is going to be focused on.
Totally. If you have questions for the next time we're on this program, go ahead and email hello@vloggingacademy.com with the subject line Ask Creator Secrets, and just submit your question. We'll answer it on the next show.
I do have one more thing.
Sure.
I can't say the name. Gamer Dad says, do you see this in the education niche? 100%. The links I get from other creator buddies when it comes to education are all longer. And there's a guy right now that's going viral. He's just talking with a whiteboard behind him. And those are all pretty long, right? Like 20, 30, 45 minutes.
Often an hour.
An hour. So it totally works. That's the thing too. If you don't see it, that's an opportunity for you to create it, because someone watching the TV and pulling up YouTube and they're interested in education and say you don't, and like, for example, you said, do you see it in the education niche? If you don't see it, you should do it.
Yeah,
in fact, that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to whiteboard it up and talk about creator stuff, which, by the way, if that's the case, follow me on Instagram. I've got a broadcast channel on there called Creator Secrets, or, of course, subscribe to this podcast. So a shout out to you, Gamer Dad, and then Julius. Thank you for being here. And everybody, don't be a stranger. Hit me up, leave a comment. And this is just the beginning. We're going to be doing more of these shows.
Yeah. Again, thanks to our students at Vlogging Academy. If you want to learn more about Vlogging Academy and what we're teaching people about the new vlogging method, visit vloggingacademy.com, all one word. And if you have any questions about that, again, you can email us at hello@vloggingacademy.com. We'll see you next time.